In pro triathlon racing, speed on the bike is no longer a luxury. You have to work on it. It's now survival. It's a bit of an arms race. You have to step up. You have to make the amends. You have to go about your kind of business the way that everyone else is. In short, I think that, or better than everyone else, because at the end of the day, you've got to be on an equal level or better playing field. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I'm going to improve my bike speed this season, from the physical work to the tech that I'm using. It's not just guesswork, it's targeted, data-driven performance. But yeah, I think that it's really important, and I'll try and shed some light. First things first, you've got to know where you're starting. I did a full analysis of my bike splits from last season and where I stood in comparison to other people. What watts I was pushing, my CDA. I've now been in the tunnel, so I needed to see where I was at and how to improve that for next time. And now I'm doing even more tests, so I'm just seeing how my kind of heart rate decouples on different sessions in terms of CDA versus speed versus heart rate versus power, and just making sure that I'm improving on that kind of speed per power, or power speed for the power, etc. One big takeaway is that I was strong, but not that efficient in kind of going fast. I'm essentially leaving free speed on the table, which isn't a bad thing, but at the same time, I can't carry on doing that. I started with aero because it's potentially one of the most kind of, not cost effective per se, but could be cost effective ways of improving your speed on the bike. And especially now that I'm working with Vortec and Cura for my suit partners who are interested in making the fastest suit possible for triathlon. So that's a massive bonus. They put me in the wind tunnel. I've improved on my CDA from my previous suit into the new suit that I'm wearing with them, and I'm also testing out positions and kit. Changes I've made are a new front end cockpit. I've reduced the stack ever so slightly. My position isn't too bad on the bike in my opinion. But just wanted an ever so slightly flatter back when I'm not in my aggressive time trial position. I've also refined my helmet choice just to make sure that it's the right one for me. I've looked at the Rudy Project and the Met drone, and both are very quick. I'll probably alternate between those. Ever so slightly narrower elbows, but not too much so in comparison to the end of last season, but definitely in comparison to the start of last season. And then yeah, just looked at things like tire pressures and making sure that a lot of my other kit is up to scratch. Specifically as well, the Absolute Speed cockpit bottle mount, which is very aerodynamic and can carry more bottles, and therefore acts as like this aerodynamic vortex fairing sort of thing when you're carrying them. I can't say exactly how much I've saved, but I imagine it's somewhere in the remit of 10 to 15 watts overall, which is pretty significant. But at the same time, I haven't yet been able to put that to good use. I got spat out of the back of Venice, and I just didn't have a good one in South Africa. So I think that hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to actually show that speed a little bit more in upcoming races in maybe Austria or Swansea. Obviously, I can't just rely on aerodynamics. I've got to also go into the strength building phase, or kind of like building the engine, essentially. It's not just about FTP or threshold, it's about specific race demands. So making sure that for 70.3 and full distance racing, I'm looking at exactly like how those race dynamics might go for a professional or a time trial. So just making sure that actually I'm able to put out the power that I think I can and then run off of the back of it. So the sorts of sessions that I do are things like high aerobic capacity, so kind of like that top end aerobic stuff, strong threshold sessions, so pretty decent solid like 6 by 10 minutes maybe threshold sessions to build that engine, making sure that it's topped up and optimized, not just conditioned from the high aerobic stuff, and also the ability to push hard and recover fast, so those over-under sort of sessions. Every session has its intent, so it's making sure that every session is doing something important towards the training and racing that I'm trying to put out. Whether it be those threshold sessions or the tempo sessions or kind of high aerobic sessions, they've all got a purpose and they're working towards the end goal, which is to be able to perform well at 70.3 or full distance Ironman. There's no point having an engine and being aerodynamic if you can't then make the best of it or make the most of it. You've got to be able to fuel well so that you can actually put out that power and therefore go fast. If you underfuel or underhydrate, you might capitulate towards the back end, and it's nothing to do with conditioning or your engine. It's just you've mucked up by not fueling yourself correctly. And I've had this quite a few times, and I think one of the big things that I'm changing going forward is making sure that I'm actually hydrating and fueling enough for the whole race, not just on the bike, on the run as well, because otherwise it's usually the back end of the run that I just completely fall apart and it's a nightmare. I could have to take up in hot races up to 6 to 8 litres on the bike, which is loads, but at the same time it's not a ton of carbs, so I'm probably around 110 grams per hour, which isn't astronomical these days, but it's pretty solid still. It's quite a lot, but I don't tend to have issues with that as long as I'm hydrating enough. Finally, it's all about how it comes together on race day, and that's what I'm focusing a lot more on now, is making sure that the training that I'm doing is very specific, it's very kind of like tailored towards that. I'm doing my race powers, I'm kind of doing it for long, extended periods of time. I'm seeing how that translates to being able to run off the bike and being able to sustain it for a long period of time. Because if I do fade towards the back end of a bike, for example, and it's costing me a lot more time, then it's pointless. I need to be able to sustain that the whole bike and be fast for the whole thing. Stay disciplined, stay aero, making sure that I'm front loading efforts into the wind, for example, and making sure that I'm fast, applying my pace or strength at different areas in the course, knowing when to sit and surge, etc. Like understanding that there is a group dynamic sometimes and being able to respond to that. And also just mentally staying sharp when the fatigue sets in towards the back end of a set. Like, I think that's really important, because at the back end of a race, you are fatigued and maybe you do forget to hydrate or fuel. So yeah, just making sure that my days and my sessions are long enough and hard enough, and I'm like fatigued enough at the back end that I'm still having to stay focused and concentrate at putting out the power, fueling, hydrating, and being astute. So that's my plan. I'm gonna get faster at cycling by targeting aerodynamics, specificity, power, and fueling. And it's nothing outrageous, like it's probably basics, but at the same time, I need to be executing these basics a little bit better and just making sure that, yeah, I'm not forgoing hydrating and drinking as much as I need to or anything like that, and things aren't slipping through the cracks. Just being specific and not letting anything slip by. But yeah, I'm excited for the next couple of races, and I'm really looking forward to getting out there again. It's just a few more weeks and then I'll be back out there and hopefully putting this plan to good use. If you want to follow the process, or if you got anything out of this in terms of entertainment or inspiration, motivation or insights, hit that likes button and hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you next time.